All right, I'll take any questions. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Diana McEwen, and I work for Clean Energy Resource Teams. We've met a couple
Yes.
times in the past. I'm actually a former Green Institute employee, so I'm really proud of the work the Green Institute did to help get Minnesota GreenStar off the ground, and so I'm happy to be here tonight. One statement and then a question. First off, I should let folks know who don't know that we are in a restaurant, Jack's Cafe here, which is participating in a program called Food Service Leadership Energy Efficiency Program that we work on to help restaurants in Minneapolis become more energy efficient. And they just begun the program, they're a new participant, but I just wanted folks to know that you're in a restaurant that is really working hard to reduce its energy use. The question I have is, you know, there's been a kind of a political sea change over the past many months, and the words climate change and cutting carbon are not popular words at the Capitol.
Right.
And I'm really curious if you think this political sea change is going to have an impact on the Walmarts and other businesses out there that have worked really hard over the past many years to become green. And you know, if you think they're going to pull back from that because of this political world, or if they're going to keep going, because clearly the public is behind that and is choosing products that are greener. And you know, again, some companies greenwash, some don't. You know, but what you think is going to happen with the business world based on this political sea change?
I don't think politics is going to affect business at all. I think the businesses have found that they're making a lot more money by being energy efficient. GE, DuPont. I mean, there are 5 major companies in the United States who have gone to Congress and asked for a carbon tax or a cap and trade bill because they believe in the future of their business, and the only way they can sustain their business into the future is to have this kind of legislation. But whether that legislation passes or not is neither here nor there, because what these businesses have found is that they can make a lot more money selling these products. As an example, it's interesting how government works. So in California, if I have been a passing fan of CFL bulbs. A passing fan. I was a passing fan of ethanol, corn ethanol, because I knew these were bridges. This was not where we were going to end up. This was a pass-through we had to make, where somebody broke away and said, let's try something new. And so I was supportive of that, even though corn ethanol, for instance, went into the food chain and was not really smart. But the idea of going away from fossil fuels was a good idea. CFL's a great idea over the incandescent bulb, but that wasn't directly where we're headed. They might last 5 times longer than an incandescent, and they may cost a little more, but you'll get your money back in savings because of the life of the bulb. They don't look too good. It has a little strange light to it that people are not really happy with it. But it's like the VHS machine. You will never hear of a CFL bulb in 5 years. Nobody will have a CFL bulb. They'll all be LEDs. Not only LEDs, there are ESDs that are out there now, which is the generation beyond the LED, which use 1/100th. This is not a mistake. 1/100th of the electricity that put out the same number of lumens of an incandescent bulb. And you've heard it a million times that we didn't worry about it when we put an incandescent bulb in because that was the only bulb we had. But an incandescent bulb has been described as a terrific heater that gives off a little light. I mean, how many people have changed a light bulb with their bare hand? Everybody has. And you got to turn that thing off because it's a heater. It's not a light, it's a heater. 90% of the energy of an incandescent light bulb is expended in heat. Same thing for an internal combustion engine.
Same thing for a furnace.
Same thing. Same thing.
Put your hand on the flue of an older furnace.
Exactly. You're losing everything. And we didn't care that we were losing it. We didn't care that we were in the summer cooling the outdoors. We didn't care that we were heating the outdoors in the winter. We didn't care about that because we weren't making the energy, we were making the money. But I don't think businesses are going to change. I think the political environment is going to change. Some people are getting fairly fed up right now. but there's so much riding on global warming, and you wonder why some people use global warming and climate change and climate disruption. I don't use them interchangeably. I use them in separate contexts. Global warming is what's happening. Undeniable. There's not a science on the planet, there's not a physicist on the planet who says that it is not warming. 97% say that it is warming because of human-induced fossil fuel burning and land use. 2% say, I can't be sure. 1% says it's a hoax. And 1%, based on my investigative reporting, and based on a book that I recommend to you called Merchants of Doubt by Naomi Oreskes and Eric Conway, work for the fossil fuel industry. See, so I mean, it makes sense. But you know what? I talked to Bill Ingebrigtsen, who's the head of the Senate Energy and Environmental Committee. And he said, global warming is a hoax and global warming is a fraud. And I said, where are you getting your information? And he said, I get it from What's Up With That, a website, which was run by Anthony Watts, a failed television weatherman who never got his meteorology degree. And he is arguing with the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, the Hadley Center for Climate Change, with the IPCC, and people who don't want this to be true will rush to that side of the issue. They will rush to it because fossil fuel interests cannot exist in the same plane of reality as science. They cannot exist in the same plane of reality. So they have to make the reality untrue. And when they can't disprove the science, they try ad hominem attacks to destroy the scientists themselves. And he said, when the evidence gets to be 50-50, I will start paying attention. Now, Bill and I happen to be fishing partners in Alexandria. Now, when he's in office, I call him Senator. But when we're in a boat, I call him Bill. And when he said that, I said, look, he's a former sheriff of Douglas County. I said, let me ask you a cop question. I'm an investigative reporter. You're a cop. We both investigate crimes. Here's the deal. There's a man standing over a body of a dead person. He has a gun in his hand, and it is smoking. The dead man has a bullet wound. The forensic pathologist has removed the bullet. The lands and grooves on the bullet match the lands and grooves inside the rifling of the barrel of the gun the man is holding. 100 witnesses saw this happen. 97 of them were standing in broad daylight and watched the man shoot the other man dead. And they so testify. 2 of them say, I can't have my back turned. I can't be absolutely sure. I heard the sound. I turned around. He was holding the gun, but I can't be sure. I didn't see him shooting. 1%, one person says, absolutely it was not him. It was not him. And then you find out that that witness is the suspect's mother. Then I said, now, how do you examine this case? Another very short example is this. If you were going to fly to New York tomorrow from this airport and you had your plane examined by 100 mechanics, 97 of them came back after a 3-day investigation and said, do not get on that plane. That plane will fall out of the sky before it hits New York. It has got so much wrong with it. 2 of them say, I can't be sure it might make it to Philly. I know it won't make it to New York, but it could get to Philly. And one of them say, perfect, it's perfect, it will fly that plane, you can actually, and you find out he works for the travel agency. So you go, well, wait a minute, that's not really true. But you know what happens? If you watch certain television broadcasts, on cable television in particular, And I think you know the one that I'm talking about. The headline, I can swear to you, the headline will be, "Mechanic says plane safe to fly." Will not mention the 97 others who said it'll fall out of the sky. But they got one mechanic who'll say it's safe to fly. So, politics will change. All politics change. People change politics because they change politicians. They change them or they vote them out of office. I have watched politicians for the past 45 years change their positions just as though the wind were blowing from one direction then the next direction. Change their positions on war, change their positions on taxes. They change their positions if they believe the people have changed their positions. But right now it's about a divide because the voices of those people with the biggest megaphones are beating those people in science. That's going to change. You'll be reading some news about that I'm privy to, where the people who are denying the science will be outed. They'll be outed. And they will be found to be the puppets. The puppets of the fossil fuel industry who cannot have the stuff we're working on be true. They just can't have it be true in their world.
Thank you, Don, for your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Done. I don't know if we're going to be able to get you to like go out fishing with, you know, a number of significant, maybe Republican senators or representatives, you know, to talk to them, but there's got to be another angle. I mean, so for me, I work on a program, I'm going to plug it, called Project Renew. It's a green training and employment program, Department of Labor stimulus grant, renewmn.com. But is there a way, if you get jobs, what I'm always thinking is, at least, you know, the new Congress, whatever, talks about making jobs, and if we can tie green to jobs, and to me there's a lot of different ways, you know, if we can get, you know, the architects, the builders in here working more on their green, there's more people working, there's more suppliers, and if you can get both the suppliers here, like the, you know, Marvin windows and the other windows that work. Pella. You know, the ones that build, you know, have their plants here, putting, you know, Minnesotans and local people to work. But if there's more ways that anybody can come up with, and you especially, someone that can be influential, to tie this to jobs, so they don't have to believe all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But tie it to jobs, and maybe you have, I'm not saying I have great ideas about that, but everything from manufacturing products close to here. You know.
Listen, Malcolm Gladwell wrote about this without talking about energy in particular. He was talking about the great changes in history, when they occurred and why they occurred. Great leaps forward. Great leaps forward in terms of technology and new job creations. I mean, just think about the computer revolution as an example. Now, when I was in college, the Cray computer took up 3 floors of an office tower, 3 whole floors that had the computing power of a laptop, today's laptop. How many young people in 1950 were going into computer sciences? Hundreds of thousands of kids are going into the field of computer sciences today. The truth will out, my friend. The truth will out. People can deny the truth all they want to. But I know as a journalist that when the truth is told and proved to people, and they can't escape it, then they have to adapt to the truth.